Hey guys,
Hey,
should you buy a car with cash or finance it or lease it? It's a decision that can significantly impact your financial situation.
today we've come to an actual car dealership, just one nearby to our home, and we want to look at the cost of buying a typical family car and looking at the pros and cons, whether you're buying it with PCP, HP, outright cash purchase, or leasing. So we're going to get in there and share the pros and cons with you guys. So definitely stick around because this is going to be value packed. Let's get in there. Hey guys, so we're now back from the car dealership. What we're going to be sharing will be able to help you no matter what car you are trying to buy, whether it is new or used. I'm going to be sharing with you guys the full cost of buying a Nissan Leaf brand new. I'm going to be walking through that step by step.
Now, to get started, we want you to jump in the comments and let us know how you finance the car that you're currently driving.
Okay, let's jump straight in. Now, the very first area we're going to look at are what are the different ways of actually buying and financing a car. There are four main ways we're going to discuss right now. The very first way we're going to look at is cash savings. It's just a no-brainer. If you've got the money, buy the car. It's usually the cheapest way for you to finance a car, particularly if you're going to hang on to that car for a long time. By that we mean beyond 5 years. Okay. The second way to purchase a car is via using a personal contract purchase, PCP. So we've got all these up on the screen for you to see as we're discussing them. Now, a PCP is a way to finance a car typically over 36 to 48 months. Okay. Now, when you do that, you'll be required to pay an initial deposit for buying that car. However, what happens with a PCP is that you pay typically around 50% of the purchase price of the car over that 36-month period, for example. Then you have a final option to pay what's called a balloon payment. That balloon payment could either be paid, so you own that car outright, or you could say, do you know what, I don't want that car anymore. Or you could actually, at that point, either pay cash for the balloon payment or refinance and carry on. Now, a PCP is ideal for the people who love to change their cars often. I know you've got that auntie or that uncle who loves to change his car or her car. Yeah, we know that because we've got family members who do the same. If you love to change your car often, then a PCP might be the one for you. But do make sure you hang around to the end of this video because we're going to be comparing all four different methods so you can know which one is the absolute cheapest.
Yep, so the next one is hire purchase, also known as HP. You typically buy it on a car finance for 36 to 48 months with the ultimate goal of owning the car outright at the end of the period. Because of this, your monthly payments are usually a lot higher than the PCP option. You don't have any mileage restrictions on a car because the car is ultimately yours at the end. This option is good for anybody who wants to ultimately own the car outright for longer. Next one is leasing or personal contract hire. Again, with this one, it's usually a contract period from 36 to 48 months. The monthly payments for this option is lower. However, you won't own the car at the end of the 36 to 48 month period. You also have a mileage restrictions, which you need to make sure you don't exceed. And also there's usually a bigger deposit to pay for this option.
Yeah, and you might get a penalty if you exceed the mileage restrictions. All right, shifting gears real quick. The second part is we're now going to look at a real life comparison of the financing options so that we can see which options are the cheapest. So up on the screen, guys, is what we found out by going to the Nissan dealership. This can obviously apply to any car you're buying, but this is for illustration purposes only. We're comparing the four different main ways you can finance a car. So in the first column there, you've got different categories. Then you've got a second column there looking at hire purchase. So this car that we saw, a Nissan Leaf Tecna, very beautiful, well, beautiful to us anyway, is priced at £32,600. You can see that on that first row where it says purchase price. Now, for the different types of ways of buying, you may need to pay different forms of deposit. So you've had to pay £250 deposit for a hire purchase or a PCP. However, for the leasing option, they require you to pay a much steeper deposit, which in this case was 6 months of the monthly payment of £430. Okay. Next, you've got there the monthly payments for all these options. You can see that the hire purchase, as Mary said earlier, is a lot more per month, £1,064 per month. PCP £588 a month. Leasing a lot lower at £430 per month, although it's still really high. And obviously with the cash option, you bought it cash. The term's 36 months across all those areas. And then notice there's a row there that says total cost after 36 months before the balloon payment. That's what it will cost you after 3 years. Then the PCP attracts a balloon payment, which is his final payment if you want to then own that vehicle, which they've noticed is at £12,155. These are actual numbers from a dealership. Notice that this car has fallen, in their estimate, more than 50% in value after 3 years.
Wow.
Very noteworthy. Then you add that balloon payment, bringing us to that total cost line after the balloon payment of 38,541 for the hire purchase, 33,590 for the PCP, £18,060 for the lease, because you don't have a balloon, because you don't own anything outright, you're just giving the car up. Then if we said, you know what, that final line there, second to the final, that says less estimated market value, this is saying basically, if you give up the car for 3 years, let's say with the HP, it's now yours outright, but you went and sold it. We estimated from our own research that a car that you sell privately in a second-hand market at the moment is about 25% thereabouts more than the minimum value that a dealer is quoting for a PCP deal. So in there you can see the dealer is quoting £12,155 as what they call the general minimum final value for a PCP. So we've added 25% to that just to give us an estimate for the HP, as well as if you own the car outright. All in all to say, total cost after 3 years, by far the cheapest option is to pay cash. You can see there, £17,407, followed by leasing, followed then by PCP, and followed by hire purchase. Our impression really is that they are making PCP much more of an attractive option for people.
Yeah.
And we're going to be coming to the psychological elements in a moment. Jump in the comments, guys, and react whether this result actually surprised you or not. Let us know what you think about that.
Okay, so now we want to talk about what the interest rates are for buying used versus new cars. So the interest rate on a brand new car is currently 7.99%.
APR.
APR. The interest rate for second-hand cars is 12.99%. And the interest rates for brand new electric car is 2.99%. Now, what's the reason for the differences? Well, the interest rate is very high at the moment for second-hand cars because there's such a high demand for second-hand cars, so they can use that to their advantage, basically. And the reason why it's so low at 2.99%, for the example of Nissan, they have...
For an electric car.
For an electric car, they have a quota that they need to meet each quarter, and so it's an incentive for more people to buy electric cars over the diesel and petrol cars.
So essentially people are being ripped off on used cars, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah, so look at that, 12.99% and rising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the difference in 5% between the interest rates for the
Brand
new car compared to the second-hand car.
Now the question comes up straight away, which is, should you buy a brand new or a used car? Straight up, we say to you, buy a used car.
Yeah.
Now here's the thing, you might think, actually I want to buy a used car that's newish, right? We found out on our research with the dealership that a used car that's maybe a year old or less than a year, that has maybe 4,000 miles done on it, is actually much more expensive than a brand new car. Why? Because a used car's class obviously is used, attracting that higher interest rate that Mary referred to as 12.99% APR, whereas a brand new car is attracting it at 7.99%. So what you want to do is buy a used car that is around 3 to 5 years old. That's already been depreciated. Yeah, the price is a lot lower. So even if you are financing it, then it still works out better for you. Although, as we'll come to later, you know, we prefer you to buy it outright in cash if you can.
So what are the other psychological factors to consider when deciding on what car to purchase?
Yeah, so in our observations, what we noticed was that dealerships are making hire purchases a lot more expensive than because they want to encourage you to purchase a PCP car. Yeah, that's the very first thing. And the thing is, if you go with a PCP car, although it gives you the option to pay that balloon payment and own the car outright, most people don't do that. The trend now is for people to want the next shiny new car. People want the latest updates, the newest technology, the newest everything. So the trend is that people are essentially going with a PCP, and then every 2 years or every 3 years thereabouts, before their warranty or any of those things kind of run out after 3 years, they go back and swap it for the very next one. And this plays in very nicely into the hands of the dealerships, which they absolutely love.
So they essentially never end up owning the car.
Yeah.
So essentially, people on the PCP or the leasing option end up financing a car with no end in sight. Also, research shows that you're more likely to spend 50% more on the value of the car if you finance the car versus if you bought it outright.
Wow.
It's a big difference.
50%. So we've now looked at 4 ways of financing a car. What are the other options for how one could go about financing a car?
So the options are 0% credit card. So you pay no interest if you can get a large enough credit limit.
Yeah.
So check with the dealer whether they can accept credit card payments. The next option is personal loans. And this is the cheaper option if you want to own the car outright, but you need to borrow money in order to buy it. So in conclusion, what method do we recommend?
All right, so the financing options we recommend are to, first of all, buy a used car outright if you can afford to do it, okay? It works out to be cheapest most of the time and has worked out for us doing so as well. But the thing is, when you do buy a used car outright, aim to buy one that's ideally 3 to 5 years old. So not buying one that's fairly brand new, okay? Because that car would have depreciated over a period of time, and that works out for you from a cost perspective, okay? Our car at the moment, we bought it when it was 4 years old, which actually worked out, and we've currently owned that car for 7 years, okay? The next one I would say is make sure you buy your car from a main dealership, okay? Again, if you can, because main dealers, even if you're buying secondhand or brand new, might be able to make a deposit contribution towards you buying that car as a bit of a sweetener or an incentive of some sort to help you, especially if you're financing that car through the main dealer. The next is to make sure that that car has a full service history as well as a full MOT history. The full service history helps you to retain the value of that car, because if you come to resell that car in the future, people will feel safer buying that car because they know that car has been looked after, and the full MOT history will help you to see what the main faults of that car have been, or what the main faults of that similar type of car has been. Just making sure that you again are buying a car that's worth your while. Then the final thing to mention is use the car for as long as possible. Okay, you will have seen in that scenario we posted earlier that even though the cash option was the cheapest option, it would become even cheaper per year as that car gets depreciated, because you're holding onto that same car per year, meaning that the cost per year becomes a lot cheaper as depreciation of that car passes by every single year. Like I mentioned earlier, we've owned that car currently for 7 years, and our current goal is, if the car keeps going, we keep looking after it, is to carry on to around 10 years. And that would have been an absolutely insane amount of value for owning that car.
Yes. So that's 3 more years, not an additional 10 years. I almost fell off my seat the last time Ken said that, just to clarify. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. We hope you found it useful. Jump in the comments and tell us how you're currently financing the car that you are driving.
And don't forget to make sure you hit that subscribe button, and please share this video with one other person who you think will find it really valuable. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. And as always, in all things,
be thankful and seek joy. Take care, guys. Bye.